Do I look at the camera or do I look at you?
Me still.
Okay. I'm Jonathan, and I'm my friends, my family, and my community. I grew up in Fort McMurray, Alberta, which, as a kid, it was like it was a fine city. Like it was like pretty safe at the time, I guess. For the most part, it was like fine. It wasn't like anything special. I was a happy kid, I guess. I think I knew when I was in ECS, like when I was 5. But at that point, you don't really know what it is. You just know that you like see other kids differently, I guess. I finally like came to terms with it when I was 16, and that's when I came out, 15, 16. But it was difficult because like my dad is amazing, but he would make jokes and stuff like that, say things that kind of scare you, I guess, when you're younger, because you're worried that if you were to come out to your parents or your family that they would like make their words into actions. But luckily they were very welcoming and loving, so that was nice. I was very lucky to come out, to have the family that I do when I came out. So my mom was like basically putting me above other people, I guess, in a way. She said that like if anybody ever had a problem with my sexuality, that she would just cut them out of our lives, which was quite, I think, maybe a little harsh. But at the same time, it's like my mom loves like all of her kids unconditionally. So if anybody were to say anything badly towards their kids, then towards her kids, she would, you know, go a little crazy, I guess, and protective, which is nice. Yeah. It was weird for me because I came out during a tarot card reading. My aunt was doing tarot card readings, and I was like, yeah, like that would be fun. Like I'm kind of into it. I'm interested. So she did the tarot card reading, and I think that she kind of knew, and I think that in a way she was kind of outing me in a very soft way, you know? Like she was going through the cards saying like, oh, like this card means that you're holding something in, you have something to say, but you don't know how to say it, blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of like, okay. So afterwards, my mom was questioning me, and she's like, so what is it? Like, what do you think that means? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I think my mom was kind of like wondering as well. So she was kind of like putting out suggestions like, oh, are you smoking? And I was like, no. And she said, are you doing drugs? And I said, no. She said, did you get a girl pregnant? And I said, no. And I kind of like chuckled. And then there was like a pause. I just remembered so clearly. It's a pause. My mom says like, oh, are you gay? And I said yes. And she started to cry. And I was so confused as to why she was crying. But she knew how hard it was in Fort McMurray, and I guess at the time as well, to kind of grow up and starting to come out, especially Fort McMurray was not a very welcoming place. Yeah, it was kind of surreal in a way, kind of odd to go through it that way, you know. Never really got to like sit down with anybody in my family and say like, hey, I have to tell you something, I'm gay. It was just kind of like that happened, and my mom called like a family meeting, and my brother and my sister and my dad were there, and they all cried. What's with the crying? It was so weird. Yeah. I came out to my close friends, my very close friends. I was in the arts, so all my friends were either in the fine arts or acting. So it was very, like, they were all welcoming. One of my friends, who was my best friend at the time, distanced himself from me. I think because he didn't want to be associated with someone who was gay in fear that he would be thought of as gay. Coincidentally, now he's gay and has a boyfriend. But that took a long time for him as well. Like, I'm guessing that he probably didn't come out until he was 27 or 26. So everybody comes at different times too. But for the most part, like it was my friends were great. So find the apartment, great price, great area, near Luke's place at the time as well. It was like literally a block and a half away. And I met the landowner and he seemed really nice and he showed me the place and it was just like a small bachelor. It was really cute. So I said, yeah, I would like to apply for it. And he said, okay, so come sign, sign some papers, whatever. And I went into their house and I was sitting at their kitchen table and I was like writing everything down. I even signed a blank check for like the first month's rent or the down deposit or whatever. Like, I'm pretty open about my sexuality. For me, I don't think that that's something that's going to have negative connotations towards me, especially if I feel comfortable in these people's presence, being in their house, being at their kitchen table, chatting with them. And they're like, oh, like, do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? I was like, oh yeah, I have a boyfriend. They're like, oh yeah, your boyfriend can come by. He's more than welcome to like stay and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, like, are you safe? And I was like, kind of like confused by that question. I was like, yeah. So I didn't think anything of it, and I was like, okay, like, yep, bye-bye. And then the next day I was working and I was like, oh my god, you guys, like, I found this great place, it's near Lucas, it's amazing. And I get a call and they're like, and it's the landlord, and he says like, hi Jonathan, I'm really sorry but I can't rent the suite to you anymore. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, like, I don't understand, like, I've signed papers, like, giving you my damage place. Like, yeah, we'll give that back to you. And I'm like, I don't understand why, like, this is a legal binding contract, you can't deny me this place anymore, like, I've signed papers. And he's like, yeah, like, I told my son, whose house it is, which was a lie, that your boyfriend would come by, and he thinks that it would be bad for the neighbors who have kids to see you and your boyfriend kissing outside of the apartment, or outside the house. And I was like, totally confused at that, and I was like, I don't understand. You're saying I can't have the apartment, like, just to be clear, you're saying I can't have the apartment because I'm gay? And he said yes. And I was like, that's illegal. That's illegal, you can't do that. And he's like, well, I can't rent it to you. And then he also mentioned that he was worried that, he didn't say that to me, but I think he said it to the news reporter that went over later, that he was afraid that I could spread AIDS through the washing machine to the other tenants. So that was interesting. I was like, okay, well, I have to report this. And he's like, yeah, you can do what you want. And I was like, okay, bye. So from there, one of the guys I worked with contacted his friend who worked at Global TV, and then from there, it just like escalated into them going to their house and questioning him, and eventually we had to go through the Human Rights Tribunal, and I just wanted people to know that that's not okay, like, that can't happen, it's illegal. And I was contacted by many people. It's like, good for you saying something and going to the news, because I was denied a place because I have a kid, or I was denied a place because I'm a lesbian, and all this other stuff. So I said that they should pay $850, which is a month's rent, to AIDS Vancouver, and then we'll call it a day. And they said okay, and they did that, and it was over. I'd want to say, like, I am, no, it's like, I don't know, it's like, I am whatever you want me to be. Like, you can say, I kind of think of, like, people putting labels on other people. It's like, if you think that that's what I am, then that's what I'll be. I know who I am, people and my friends know who I am, but anyone on the outside that can look at me and judge me for something they don't know, then sure. I'm proud of the people that I choose to be around. I am my friends, I am my family. My friends are me. Does that sound weird?
No, I like that answer.
I'm Jonathan, and I am my friends, my family, and my community.